This is my second fish room in 9 years in this home. It is my third fish room in the last 35 years. I've learned a lot. And when I built this fish room, YouTube wasn't even on my radar. I had no idea I was going to be filming. So the problem with this fish room is the tight spaces. Terrible angles, bad lighting, and it's just frustrating to film fish in this fish room as it is. So I've realized it's time for a big change. I want to make some big changes to this fish room right now to be more productive. Not only in breeding fish, which is doing well, but the combination of breeding fish and filming the process. So my ultimate goal is to build a studio. Not in my home, but actual space where I can have a studio not only to breed fish, but to have great lighting, an excellent space, but also to do interviews with specialists in our hobby. So this will be more conducive to teaching, having dedicated interviews, but also to build better products for you guys. Now this is where your support's going to come in. Through donations, but mainly website sales. We can make Sheller Studios a reality and take this hobby to the next level with your support. Having 3 fish rooms, I've learned a lot. Now, sometimes we want to just cram as many tanks in a room as we can, and that's where my mistake happened because I was thinking just breeding and not YouTube. So these 29s on end, I've already started emptying them. These are going to go away. A total of 13 tanks are going to leave the room, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to keep the most optimal conditions for breeding, but also for filming. So this whole rack is going to go away. We're going to break this down, put these in storage for when we get the studio up and running. And in here we have just an empty tank. I think it has a pleco in it and some shrimp. But this has the L494s, and they just spawned about 3 or 4 days ago and had probably, there's 1 female and 3 males. She probably had about 250 eggs, but they were not fertilized. So she went in and they kicked them out. The L134 leopard frog pleco. They are trapping, but have not spawned yet. And then I have my zebra plecos that are growing out that are going to take 17 years to grow out. So what we're going to do with these is find spaces in the fish room to put these plecos. What I've noticed is having them in their individual species tanks has helped a ton. So it allows me to keep heat up for like the zebras, water quality soft for the L134s, and then a little bit harder for the 494s. My favorite so far of all the 3, now you're going to think zebra, it's not the zebra, and the leopard frog's cool, it is the L494. It is one of my favorite plecos I've ever kept. This rack is going away. Let me show you what's going to go in place. Okay, so first we're going to go with the 75 over the 55 and kind of explain what's in it. This tank is going to move that rack I just showed you. So this is the rack from the other angle, and that's kind of my point of filming, is my orientation is always off because I can't flow as far as just shifting my camera a little because I got these small aisles. So this 75 is built on a 55. Now this was quite an engineering feat to get this to fit, but it's one of my favorite tanks, this 75. And right now it's holding my future breeders of my 7th generation red shoulder. I'm calling them red shoulder greens. I'm getting a little variation as far as the black finnage, which I really like. The black has left the body, but now it's kind of accentuating the fins and everything, which is cool. So I'll probably breed out the albino to this, and then it's getting that solid red head. And then what I will probably do is just the gold blondes with the red and green. We'll cross those and then maybe cross those back. So probably another year of work on these to get them. But my main goal on these angelfish is their finnage. I want their finnage to be sharp and crisp. I do not want any folded fins. I do not like floppy fins. I do not like missing fins. And I do not like curled fins or twisted fins. So I am highly, highly, highly observant of the ones I pick for breeders. So below is my Pontinal Wild Sturbis. paid an arm and a leg for them. They have bred for me a couple times, but they haven't bred in about 7 months, and I believe because of seasons. I think that they just go through seasons because they're wild. Now, I've tried cool water, I've tried everything. I'm just going to let them kind of do their thing. So this tank right here, this rack, is going to move here. These are going to go into storage until we get the Sheller Studios going, and that's going to be kind of tucked back. So these stick out a long way. We're going to take these, and this is a little cubby. This is actually upstairs. This is my front door area, so that's why this cutout is here. And when I built these, I thought these were going to be great. They are impossible to work on. There's nothing good about having 29s on end. It's just something that I struggle with. But also the height. I do not like the height. So in the new studio, which is probably hopefully 6 months to a year away, we're going to turn these back to front and have just a row of them. Because I really like the 29. If I had to choose, the 40 breeder is my favorite. And then the 55, and then what I like about the 29. Now, why I like these certain tanks like the 40 and the 29 is the open top. There's no bar in the middle. I love that because it's easy for me to work on and it's quick. So this rack's going away, this rack is shifting over. Okay, next. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about with these. This is in kind of a weird spot to film because right where the camera is literally a small aisle. So I have one angle I can shoot this tank at. And it's so tight that I can't get both these tanks in frame. You know, obviously we have the Discus fry down here, doing great, probably about 150. And then I have my Prey-Cop rainbows up here. But what I like to show is how they feed. They strike the top, but we can't see that because I can't get both in frame. So one thing about these 40s is I love them. So I wasn't about to get rid of the 40s. Now I sacrificed the 29s, but those will be breeding tanks in Sheller Studios down the road. So they will not be going away, they will just go into storage. But now that we have, so let me orient. So the 29s are here, so that was there, and then the 75-55 is right here, and then the 240s are here. So the 75-55 are going to go where the 29s are, and then I'm going to show you where I'm going to put these. It's going to be a little tight, but what's going to happen is I'm going to get rid of this right in the middle of the room, and then also this right in the middle of the room, and I'll hopefully show an angle of that. So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to have tanks wrapped on the walls. This is going to allow me a little more freedom to get better videos until we can move on to the new studio. Now you're saying, why couldn't I make this work? Because it's always in my dream to have a studio. Sometimes I interview people for me to learn something. And after I'm done, I think, man, I could have, if I had that on film, that would have been great because that would have taught a lot of people what I just learned. Now I try to relay it the best I can, but sometimes it's best coming from the actual people that know exactly what they're talking about. Now this is another problem. So you see, if I want to film this tank down here, I have to crouch down or sit in a chair. I hate sitting in chairs, but I don't have much choice in this room. I can't really walk around because when I do, I'm usually off frame to get these in frame. So I'm right at the bottom there, and that's where I struggle. Oh, there's a, oh, well, cool, LL494 baby. So I got about 30 of those, which is cool. And so my goal with the new fish studio is to be able to actually provide fish for subscribers. Now, if you donate, you're going to be first on that list. The transition is going to be hard because I'll have to go to work every day, but actually that's a good thing because I just find when I come down here and work, I have so many distractions going on around the house, and I want to just come home to my home and just have it my home. I don't want it to be somewhere where I work and hang out with my kids or my wife. If I put in an 8-hour day, great. If I put in a 16-hour day, great. But I don't want to have my business in my home. So my construction business is out of my home, but I leave every day to go work in that. So that's a little different. But here what I find is sometimes I'm not very motivated because there's so many distractions going on. There's something coming up, right? But if I can schedule a time, hey, I'm going to work and then I'm coming home, it's going to be better for not only my family, but for me personally, just psychologically, to have that access to go somewhere and work and then come home and be out of work. These guys are growing real well. They are not growing as fast as I like because I have different generations. And I understand that. Now I see no stunting going on. I see everything. The smaller ones are just going to grow slower, and that's okay. Just going to take longer because I'm in no hurry to sell these. I'm in no hurry to get them big fast. That is the option that, you know, when we're making money selling fish, we have to do. So now let me show you where the 40s are going to go, and this is going to be even tighter for me, and there's no way I could film with the 75 and 55. Alright, so this is what I'm talking about. So this is almost impossible to get these 40s on because there's this tank right here, which is a 75, 55. So the 40 is going to go up here where this 20 is. Now this used to be my fry rack. I don't really need a fry rack. And then down below, I'll kind of show you. So this was a row of 10s. I'm not a huge fan of the 10s. Those would be great for if you did like a guppy strain that you wanted to like perfect, or shrimp, or you know, small fish. But I don't really have a use for these. So these 4 10s are going to go away, and this 20 longs going to go away, and those 8 29s are going to go away. So let me make sure I do my math right. That should be 13 tanks are going to leave, but it's going to open up all kinds of space where I can film in here, at least temporarily, and get better content. Let me change this a little bit. So this is what I'm talking about as far as the frustrations I have of trying to film in tight spaces. I can never get the quality I want. Now with these tanks moved around, it's going to help tremendously. So for some perspective, this room right here is 180 square feet with 35 tanks in it. It's pretty tight, right? But when I built it for breeding. So I really didn't care about small aisles. I just wanted my aisles to be wide enough that I could walk through and push a barrel through. I really didn't care about angles or filming. So that's where my frustration has come in since I started YouTube. Now when I first started YouTube, I didn't know how long I was going to do it. Am I going to just do it for a couple videos? I'm about 115 in, 3 years. Now that means I was doing it and stopping, mostly because of the frustration of this, of trying to film in these tight spots. So by opening up these tanks, those two 40s are going to get a 40 up here and a 40 down here. I don't like the 40 down here, but I also don't like the fact of not having the 40 because, you know, basically down here what I have to do is drain into a bucket. So I don't like that, and that'll be the new thing with the studio. There will be no tanks high. There will be no tanks low. Everything is going to be, I would imagine I'm going to have about 300 or 400 square feet I would love to have. The top of the tanks are going to be at my armpit. That's kind of going to be the goal. So when I need to work on something, I can just go in and grab it. No ladders, no bending over, no buckets because I can't get gravity to work for me. Now, I could go on automatic. But here's the thing with automatic. It will fail. And when it fails, it's catastrophic. It doesn't just fail a little bit and then you can kind of work through. When it fails, and usually what happens, and I already know this because it happened in my first fish room 30 years ago, is you put stuff on automatic, like automatic beaters or automatic water changes, and what happens is you kind of just say, oh, I'll be okay. The automatic's going to take over. You know, I'm okay today, I don't need to go in. So when you have to work on tanks, it forces you to go into the fish room. And I can't tell you how many times my butt's been saved because I had to come down and just take a look or make sure everything was okay, make sure that, you know, everything was being fed. It's huge. So I will never, never, never do automatic. Now I might do semi-automatic where I have to flip a switch, but that means I got to be there. So that might be the route I go, is a semi-automatic. But even this semi-automatic, I'm going to age my water. I will never have tap water going into my fish tanks. Never. It will never happen again. I will never lose $10,000 worth of stock because I got lazy, or the city decided to do a full clean on their water system. And they don't have to tell you when they do that, and they just dump bleach into your tank. So that will not happen. So it'll be armpit high or lower, and semi-automatic where I have to pull a lever. I highly recommend that you never do automatic. I'm just telling you my experience of 35 years of keeping fish, why I don't do automatic. I do automatic feeders, but I do very minimal. It's like 1 time a day. On really young stuff, I'll do 2 times a day. And it's not a lot. I am not dumping a bunch of food in there. They have to fight for that food to make sure it works for them, and they're going to get fed. So. Yeah, I mean, it's a big change, but it has to happen. What I am finding with YouTube, small tanks are not ideal for filming. The best thing to do is, and this is something I've been working on for a year, is bigger tanks with dividers. It really works awesome. And in the new studio, that's what we're going to be doing, is creating bigger tanks with dividers. I believe this room is holding me back from creating something amazing as far as our community. So I want to build a studio. This is where you come in. One thing I am struggling with also is, on the website I have people internationally wanting my products. I cannot ship our products international. They will not make it through your customs. I am so bummed because I've tried everything to get these products worldwide. One day maybe, but the only way it works, and hopefully this will change, is if I ship pallets to a country, they approve it, and then it goes into a store. I'm nowhere near that right now. Right now what I'm focused on is making better content, inviting guests on this channel to get more perspective as far as fish keeping in general, but not just fish keeping, you know, food, science, engineering, everything that can be used in our hobby that is not technically in our hobby. There are so many smart people with such great ideas, and fulvic acid is one of them. You know, I know Europeans use fulvic acid, and I know they use it pretty regularly. But here in America, so it just wasn't something we used. And I'm here to change that. So this isn't just about a new space, this is about unlocking potential in our hobby. Opening up minds, getting dialogue from different sources, and making sure that we are open to new suggestions. Yes, I know people are very set in the way they keep their aquariums, and that is fine, but it's always a little tweak here or there, or something you learn here. It can make a difference in your hobby. Trust me. I'm blown away that I've been in this hobby as long as I have, and I'm still learning every single day. There's not a day that I don't go by that I don't learn something visually, like, oh wow, that's something new, or just, I'm going to try this and see if it works. Well, that didn't work. So I'm constantly just shifting slightly left and right, up and down, because I want to know if this is the way it should be done, or if there are things that I don't know yet that I want to learn. So yes, my passion are the fish. I love it, something I will do till the day I die. But one thing that's really become a passion for me is video, storytelling, trying to be better at giving a good story. My view duration is about 35% average. Now, that's about the industry standard. So there are guys out there that are getting 60 to 70%. And that's because they understand how to tell a story. Now, I'm nowhere near that. I got years, maybe 10 years before I get to that expert level. I am still consider myself a beginner, not even an intermediate yet, or as we said in BMX, a novice. I'm not even a novice yet. But I'm learning every day, and every day I'm curious on what makes certain channels really successful. Now, time is a big one. There's no other way to become successful long term than to just make videos, because that's how we learn to get better. Alright, so right now this cramped situation is not helping me as far as trying to become more creative. I'm going to show you how I set up every time and how long it takes me. Different things I have to do every single time. I would love to just have a studio where I could plug and go. If I got a great idea, I want to make a video. I get most of that to go to the studio build. Now my goal is $10,000 to get this built. That sounds extreme, that sounds out of reach, but to me, I know that's not out of reach. I know that's possible. So yes, I'm building it for me to film, but I'm building it for you to learn. That's kind of the thought process. So I'm calling on all you guys to help. Now I'm at about 2,100 subscribers, and I know all 2,100 people don't watch my channel, and I'm a realist, and I never ask you to subscribe, I never ask you to like, I never ask you to comment, because I feel like if it's something you are compelled to do, it means more than me asking for something like that. Now, I am asking for help as far as building. Right now I've invested so much money into the website and the products, and I've upgraded all the products as best I can. I'm still working on it, probably got a couple more weeks, but I've tried to give you more product for less money. And when I say less money, I mean per gram. That's how I figure out cost, and that's how I figure out profits. So one thing I'm noticing is I was hand packing every order, and that was insane. So I've hired 2 part-time employees that work with me Thursday, Fridays, and they pack orders. So one thing I've done is we can pre-pack products. 90% of my products now can be packed, and I do not have to sit there and make them during shipping. This is going to cut down a lot of time. So one thing that I'm going to be working on is getting orders out every Thursday, Friday, and Monday. Now, what happens is I get overwhelmed, and when I get overwhelmed, I basically have to still have a full-time job. And that's another thing I'm trying to do with this channel, is get away from working in construction. I believe that there's a potential here to really make something special. I have a lot to give, and I want to give that, but I can't do it part-time, if that makes sense. I need to do this full-time to really get in and dive deep into this. So I will be coming out with merchandise soon. I've been testing stuff for about a year. A lot of it I didn't like, but some of it is ready to go, and that's something I'll be working on in the next month or so. You know, these are pretty lofty goals, I know, and I understand that. So I understand that not all of you are going to do this, you know, even the $10. I get it. If you can't do it, don't do it, all right? But if you can possibly still buy the products, that's amazing. But I know there's a couple people out there that will be willing to put good money down for something special. You guys have been amazing on the website. But the more I can sell, the closer this goal will come to fruition quicker. Yes, I have some debt on that website. But one thing I'm going to start doing is pulling back on new products and really focus on these products and get these to a certain level, hopefully to a break even, before I start renewing or unloading or introducing new products on the website. So I'm not asking anybody that can't afford it to do it, but if you can afford it and you want something special, let's move forward. Okay, so I want to introduce some new fish that I just got in for breeding projects. One of my favorites as far as domestic, very hardy, very beautiful, thick fish, always come out really nice. It's the Flora. The Flora is probably one of the best domestic fish to breed for profit. Very durable fish, and it crosses well with anything reds, greens, or blues. It is kind of a turquoise, but its body shape is something that's pretty special. So, finally got these in. I've been looking for them for about a year. Finally got them in. The Flora. Excellent fish, excellent fish to breed. And what's nice is it'll go well into my wild strains, so to get us some color.